Heyo, and morning all. I've got a Gibson custom shop Howard Roberts Fusion on the workbench this morning. Very nice guitar. The owner is not the original owner, and he's having a bit of problems with just the feel of the neck. The frets have somebody's the previous owner has taken a file to these frets, and you can see that they've kind of overshot in a variety of places, and must have just been a flat file or something they used, and it's almost like they've got a little bit of scalloping in the fingerboard all the way down, and oopsie daisy. And then presuming they used just a flat file, they didn't crown the frets, so he's finding them a bit high and a bit flat, hard to slide, he says, when he's bending. So I've checked the heights of the frets, and they're usually between 1.1 millimeters and 1.3 millimeters in height, depending on which fret we're talking about. So I've taken the tension off the neck and then reintroduced the tension to get this fingerboard as flat as I can get it before I bring my filing block onto here to bring everything down to the same height. Then I'll crown the frets and see how we go from there. The other thing that's interesting with this neck is that I've got it flat on this side with the tension on the truss rod. I move it over to the treble side, and there's daylight up this other end, which means that my straight edge is rocking on there, which means we've got a back bow at around fret 7, probably starting around fret 5. So we've got a height on the treble side, and we've got it dead flat on the bass side. So I'll endeavor to make that dead flat right across. And you know, this has nothing to do with the previous owner or anything. Wood moves, it changes shape over time. It's just some kind of twisting that's probably happened in the neck, and at some point, if it got really bad, you'd pull out all the frets and reshape the fingerboard and refret it, but it's not that far gone yet. And we have quite a bit of height on these frets, so we should be able to ameliorate that issue. I'm going to use the 6-inch leveling block here, just on this treble area, on the treble, to take out this little hillock I've got on the treble side, and then I'll move to the 12-inch radius to do a leveling of the whole fret board. We've got a nice bit of fall away actually, which is nice to see up in the top end, so I don't want to mess with that too much. I just want to make this nice and flat and then recrown it. I've used black marker pen to give me an indication of how much I'm taking off here. And I'm using just very light pressure here. You know, I'm not putting a lot of force on this. I'm just trying to take off maybe 1/10 of a millimeter on this side where that little hill is imposing itself. And then once I've got that down a little bit, let's have a closer look. So you can see this gives you a good indication of how much of the ink has come off of each fret. One of the complaints that the customer had was that the frets were too high, which is not something you hear often, but he likes to feel the wood when he's bending strings. So he found these high frets a bit too uncomfortable. They, I don't know what frets Gibson put in these, but they were about 1¼ millimeters. When I got it. So I'm going to take it down to about 1 millimeter, maybe a little more than that, because once, you know, our radiusing block, of course, is moving this way. And then by the time these are crowned and smoothed off, even more will come off them we've got grooves in the frets going this way, and once they get taken down, you know, I'll be at about the right height. So I'm a little, I don't want to take too much off. I'd rather leave plenty on there, so if he wants it taken down further, it's not a problem. But I suspect that once these are crowned and polished, they'll come down just to a much more playable height, and I'm hoping he'll be happy with that. So I've taken the frets down to just above 1 millimeter. And I've checked to make sure that that straight bar is sitting nice and evenly on top of all the frets on both sides, the bass side and the treble side. So now I'm ready to crown those frets. For crowning, I quite like the Fret Guru. I tried a few other crowning tools over the years, and this is not too expensive. It does a pretty good job, and it seems to be lasting for quite a long time. So at some point I'll probably try something else, but for now I like this. You can get quite a good handle on it and get the pressure you need. As you can see, I've used the marker pen on the frets again, so that as I crown I can see how much I've taken off. This one needs a little bit more work. You can see the line developing there. It's not quite as thin as I'd like it to be. I don't think it has to be razor thin, but you know, it has to be a nice round crown so that that fret intonates properly. I've got a nice little thin line down the crown of each fret now. I've taped off the board because I'm going to now start to polish these, and I like these little mini foam boards. Get them on Amazon pretty cheap, and there's going to be a lot of cross motion polishing, and I don't want to add to the gouges that are already in here, so this is just an obvious precaution. Frets looking nice and shiny. I'll give them a final finish with some fairly fine, I think this is 000 steel wool. Of course, making sure the pickups are all taped so they don't get steel wool stuck to them. And then we'll be pretty much done. Restring this and see how she feels. Nice and shiny. I also tend to oil the fingerboard, a mixture of, you know, you can use anything, a little lemon oil. I think this could be a mixture of mineral and lemon oil, but any fairly light oil is what you want. And of course I'm going to wipe this off, but it's good to feed that fingerboard. It just stops the crud building up. It makes the guitar smoother and easier to play. So there is the Howard Roberts Gibson back in the case, ready to give back to the owner. They're an interesting guitar. They have quite a big neck on it. It's kind of quite a chunky D shape, flat D shaped neck, but quite a big neck. And I think that sort of goes hand in hand with the extra high jumbo frets.